Capitulation basically means like we are basically done, like it's sold off and we pretty much got rid of all the sellers. Number one, when a market's going to drop and it's going to drop hard and then we're forming a bottom, the very first thing you're going to find is high volume on price decline, which means that as prices begin to drop, there's more and more sellers coming out of the woodwork. This is very different from a normal correction. In a normal correction, you don't get massive amounts of volume. Yeah, you get people who sell, because they're scared. You get weak hands that sell, but nothing on the level that would indicate that majority of the people are selling their positions. So when I ask on the street if anybody's selling their Bitcoin, what I'm really gauging is, are you selling because you're panic selling, or are you selling because you want to cut the loss? And there is going to be a little bit of panic there because some of these are actually kind of intertwined. But the majority of the people I've spoken to, they pretty much say that they're not going to sell. And that's a great thing because they believe in the tech. However, what really, for me, is that what's going to happen is I'm pretty sure a chunk of those people are going to sell. Massive red candles are going to indicate the last baton of people who are going to sell that. And if that happens, and I hope I'm wrong, by the way, but I'm not here to predict that, but this is some of the characteristics of what happens. When the last holder says, you know what, I've given up, I'm going to sell, even though I've been trying to hold Bitcoin since 20K, now I just can't take it anymore. That's the final straw. And that's when you flush out the rest of it. All right, number two. Negative news for number two. There is going to be also a lot of buzz around the internet, specifically on social media, and also with any sort of news outlets that's going to say this: Bitcoin is done, bubble has been confirmed, the Bitcoin is going to zero. Yeah, you're going to hear people say that. People is going to zero. Bitcoin was a scam. Who to sue? I blame the government for not doing that. When it gets down to that point where everybody now is trashing Bitcoin for everything it is, that's when we're kind of almost reaching the bottom, because by that time there's been enough mainstream people to have sold that the news begins to kind of cater to that crowd. And that is where I think the biggest indicator is of a bottom. You're also going to see extreme price projects or projections. Actually, it's supposed to be projections, where Bitcoin's price will go to zero, and people are going to say, look, I think that Bitcoin's going to go to zero. I think Bitcoin's going to go to $1. I think Bitcoin's going to go to $5. Whatever the number is, it's going to be on the very, very extreme side. Numbers that you probably would never have imagined. Can you imagine if someone walks up to you and says, I think Bitcoin's going to go to $1? And people actually believe it because the news is so bad that it just kind of capitalizes on that. So watch out for extreme price projections. Number four, all rallies are bull traps. So what ends up happening is, as we get these little mini rallies, people are going to be very, very skeptical because they've been burned by so many rallies that they say, you know what, no way this is real. The price is manipulated. This is a fake market. We're probably going to hit lower. And what ends up happening is that this is actually a real market. That's when the smart money comes in and decides to buy everything, because they know that this is pretty much the bottom. But the rest of the people who don't understand market psychology are going to think that every single rally is suspicious. And again, a healthy level of suspicion is very important. However, when you're looking at a reversal trend, most people underestimate the rallies, and they don't really take into consideration that these all could be bull traps. All right, last one, number five, massive green and red candles. This is one of your final indicators, when at the very bottom you're going to find large intraday candles that you've never seen before, 50, 20, 30% intraday candles, green and red. And it's going to look like there's a lot of bull traps, going to look like there's a lot of selling pressure, but the reality is that the candles are going to indicate a battle between the bulls and the bears. In fact, I would like to see both the red and the green candles come out of the woodwork to flush out all the sellers out, and all the green candles come out, bring all the buyers out. Once you see those, it's going to be pretty obvious that we are technically at a bottom. Usually you'll see these on V bottoms or also W bottoms. In some cases, you may end up seeing those on kind of like plateauing or accumulation bottoms. But the way things are at right now, it looks very, very, very common that these higher volumes going to accompany those green. All right, guys. So overall, I would say if this video has, riled you up a little bit, and you're probably thinking to yourself, why is he saying this if he thinks Bitcoin's going to go up? I do believe Bitcoin is going to go up at some point. The order in which it's going to go up matters. Do we go to 4K, 6K first before to 20K, or do we go to 20K and then drop back to 4? I do find it very interesting that most people can't accept the possibility that we could have a very low Bitcoin. It doesn't matter what your camp is. It doesn't matter what your belief is, because what ended up happening in December and January is most people got in. They decided to think that Bitcoin was going to go to 100K, and there's a bunch of people, they are still holding Bitcoin that have not sold yet. And I don't think they're going to sell, but if the price is right for some of these, I think they're going to sell, especially as the losses begin to mount. So there is a psychological part that most people are not understanding, and I think that's where the problem lies, is that there are people behind these scenes, and everybody has different motivations to sell. They may not say it publicly, but they will sell at some point. It's just a matter of how much pain can they endure. Now, some people are never going to sell because they bought Bitcoin at a very cheap price. But if you bought Bitcoin at 15K, 20K, it matters. It matters. And then people would tell you they're going to buy in whole when they bought at 20K. I think they may be not necessarily telling you the truth. So, in a nutshell, how are you looking at this? Look at it from a multiple perspectives. Don't look at it from your own biases. And again, I definitely would challenge everybody to consider that capitulation and how capitulation works is an important factor in studying the markets.